We are reading in the book, the romance novel, Charming After 5, Chapter 23. As the week passes, and then other weeks, Bernie is back to his routine of working at Joey's and seeing Stacy. He knows what he wants his future to look like, but it will take some planning and some input from a couple of important people in his life. He's hoping to talk to Stacy about an idea he has when they see each other again tonight. His shift is over in an hour and Stacy is meeting him so they can have dinner together. He starts preparing a special meal for the two of them alongside with the orders that are coming into the kitchen. His mind is going over the last couple of weeks with the funeral and with Stacy meeting his family. They loved her, just like he knew they would, and that makes part of his plans even better. Stacy arrives at the bistro and sees Bernie is hard at work. He has really opened up to her recently, and she has been so happy that he let her be there for him through his painful season and loss. She stands back and watches him work, not wanting to interrupt him. He turns, sees her, and waves her over to the bar. "I'm almost done. Why don't you go and get a seat in the back booth, and I'll be there shortly with our dinner." Bernie smiles at her. Stacy smiles and answers, "Okay, I'll be waiting." Dinner is wonderful as usual. Bernie is an amazing chef and seems to only be getting better. The menu here at Joey's has changed, and the food is some of the best around now that Bernie is there training new chefs. The meal tonight of roasted leg of lamb, spring salad with cucumber vinaigrette, glazed rosemary potatoes, and lavender-infused iced tea could have come from one of the top culinary restaurants in the world. They eat in silence, savoring every bite of the meal. Bernie waits until they've finished to mention anything to Stacy. Bernie starts, "I would like your opinion on something." "Go ahead, I'll do my best to help with whatever you need," Stacy assures him. "You know, I have always wanted my own restaurant, and my plan has always been to start my own somewhere. But I have been offered a proposition, and I think I should consider it." Bernie continues, "The owner, Joey, has asked if I would like to buy out part of the bistro. I would be the majority owner, so the place would technically be mine. I would just have partners to help with the financial side of things, and I would run the place, actually." He pauses to see if Stacy wants to jump in with any advice or comment. Stacy asks, "It is sounding good to me so far, but you said partners? There's another partner?" "Yes, Joey has a silent partner, to be honest. He said he hasn't really ran the idea by her yet. He wanted to know if I would be interested before he even bothered to approach her." He went on to explain, "I think I am interested, but I wanted to talk to you and to John to get your opinions before I commit to anything. Now that my uncle is gone and the estate has been divided, I have received my inheritance and I can afford to make this move." Stacy cautions, "I think it's a great move as long as the silent partner is in full agreement and you can get a good deal on your half of the business. You are going to talk to a lawyer, am I right? You need to make everything legal, of course." "Of course, that's a given. Joey feels that now that I'm here and the restaurant is turning a good profit, it's finally time for him to take a break. He wants to take a back seat, enjoy his residual income, and pursue life outside of the restaurant here. He's been doing it for many years, you know. I've gone into some personal things with him, and I've gotten to know him well these last few months. He has shared with me about his family and losing both his parents within the last few years. He realizes that he has let the restaurant become his life, and he needs to make a change and move on. I personally think he has a girlfriend. I've never met her, but I think his business meetings are a little more than business. Bernie gives a slight wink at Stacy. Well, I'm happy for him and for you. He seems very nice and still young enough to have a family and a life, I would think. I think this is a great deal for everyone. Stacy shows her excitement by hugging Bernie. This is wonderful, Bernie. I know it's what you want. Let's just hope the silent partner is agreeable then, Bernie says as he starts to clear the table. Okay, let's go talk to John. Stacy helps Bernie close up the bistro, and they head to Jonathan's apartment to fill him in and get his opinion. Bernie and Stacy fill Jonathan in, and he is happy for his friend as well. He has some of the same questions, plus many more from an accountant's point of view, and they sit and crunch numbers well into the night. Bernie has to wake Stacy up to walk her home. When he returns, they discuss even more details. I guess you are in a waiting game, waiting to hear from this silent partner then? Bernie says, yes, but Joey seems to think she will agree to the deal. He again tries to assure Jonathan. He is meeting with her tomorrow to go over the proposal with her. I sure hope she agrees soon. I'm anxious to get this ball rolling. And then Bernie again informs Jonathan, and I know a lot has happened with this new deal. Please don't think I've forgotten about getting my own place now, and since I have a job and my inheritance, I can sure pay you back. Once I move out, I will add up everything I owe you. I'm still keeping track of everything. I am. And I had planned to do that next until this offer fell in my lap. So I think I need to finalize that first. Burns, don't worry about it. I know you have a lot on your mind and just now getting back into the groove of things. Move when you're ready. I'm glad I could be here for you. Jonathan pats his friend on the back and Byrne turns and gives him a big bear hug. Thanks, man. You've always been there for me. Byrne thinks he may cry from all the support and the hugs he's received today. He's almost overwhelmed and still saddened by the passing of his uncle, but so thankful that his uncle thought enough of him to put him in his will. I don't know if I can sleep, but I need to try. I hope it's a big day tomorrow with some big news. Bernie hints to Jonathan of his hopes as Jonathan vacates the room, a.k.a. going to his bedroom. No problem. I need my sleep as well. More audit work tomorrow. Lots of it. Jonathan yawns and heads to his room. Finn is painting when Quinn walks into her bedroom without knocking. Why do you do that? I have asked you to please knock before you burst into my room. Finn is tired of reminding her sister again and again about that. My house, remember? Anyway, I know it's late, but I need you to fill in for me again tomorrow. I have to be somewhere early. It just came up, so I'll just take a cab. All day, or are we switching at lunch once again? Finn inquires. I'm not sure, so plan on all day, but I'll let you know if that changes. You're just a phone call away. You don't need to do anything other than stay away from Jonathan Waters and anyone on the board. The audit is still going on, but just stay in the office and appear busy. Like I always am? Quinn has set the orders. Yes, ma'am, Finn says with a mock salute. I sure hope you aren't this sarcastic when you are trying to portray me with Mr. Waters, or anyone else for that matter. Quinn starts to lecture her sister. Finn says with a feigned shock, I wouldn't dare be like you. The look on Quinn's face shows that she is not amused. She leaves the room just as rudely as she entered. Finn had been avoiding Jonathan after hours as of late. It was getting harder and harder to keep up the pretenses as Quinn, her sister. It was obvious to her that Jonathan was baffled about the definite differences between the way the day Quinn acted at work and the way she, Finn, was actually herself after work. He had quit asking, though, and had just settled into the explanation that there was no work talk after 5 and vice versa. She knew he was smarter than that, though, and had his suspicions that there was something more to the story. But he was also so intrigued and interested in her, Finn, enough to keep his mouth shut and going with the flow. Finn thinks to herself, so tomorrow I'll just stay in the office, put out the do not disturb sign on the door, and avoid him. But that's going to be hard. I want to see him. Now, to think on other things, she needs to do some of her own investigating work and figure out what her sister is really up to. She figures she hasn't told her everything. Not as of yet. Where does she go and what does she do on those days off? That is what Finn is really wondering. She wishes she could follow her, but the whole point of switching places is that she has to be right there at the office. The next day, she plans to search the office for clues. Surely her sister has something there that will shed light on these mystery meetings that she always takes. Plus, it will give her something to do since she might be stuck inside that office all day. I guess I need to go to bed since I have to pretend to be a career woman in the morning. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, Finn sighs. Quinn is pacing the floor of her bedroom. Joseph wants to talk about some real business matters. She wonders what is up. He has been acting like he has wanted something more seriously lately, but would he call our relationship a real business matter? Quinn dismisses that thought. Either way, she requested that the meeting take place at the bistro, not at his place. If there is a big decision to be made, she knows she needs to keep her wits about her and not let him seduce her into any distractions. With Finn at the office, Jonathan and Stacy there as well, and the new chef not scheduled to work until 3, it should be safe to be there and not even have a thought of being seen by anyone she doesn't want to see her there. She needs sleep, and worrying about it will not bring the morning there any faster. Quinn tries to quit thinking and heads to bed, but sleep does not come easy. Chapter 24. Bernie is up early enough, and though it's his morning off, he just can't sleep. In all of his excitement of the deal Joey offered him and wanting to tell Stacy and John, he forgot to leave the keys to the storage room, and Andrew, the new chef he is training, will need them to stock the deliveries that's coming in that morning. He feels it's okay since he wasn't really getting any sleep anyway. He tossed and turned all night thinking of the possibilities of remodeling and improving the bistro. He has always wanted his own place and has dreamed of many things he would do. Having partners is sounding better than doing it all himself, he thinks. Hopefully, possibly. As John pointed out the night before, he is an excellent chef, but has little knowledge of running a restaurant and all the financials that come along with that. Starting out with someone as experienced as Joey would be a great step forward, and eventually maybe he could buy Joey out down the road and have full ownership. He heads to the bistro and wishes he could talk to Joey again, but he knows that he's having a meeting, and he scheduled it with his silent partner, and they usually hold their meetings elsewhere, away from Joey's back office at the bistro. So unless Joey calls him, he'll have to wait until his shift that night to find out how the meeting went. Quinn is furious. What do you mean you want to sell the bistro? She has risked her job at Westin Mutual, snuck around and allowed herself to be drawn in by Joseph, and now he wants to take all that away. Joe tries to tell her what he's talking about. You're not listening to me. Quinn begins pacing because she's fuming. Joey hasn't gotten a word in between her rants. He decides just to wait her out till she cools down, slows down, and stops eventually from talking. When Quinn realizes that he is not saying anything, she stops, looks him in the eye. Please tell me, Joseph, why would you want to sever our business relationship? If you would just sit down and listen to me, you will understand that I do not wish to sever anything. I am proposing that we sell the majority stock in the bistro, not the entire restaurant. I have realized that this business is controlling most of my life. I don't have a life outside of here. Well, I didn't until I met you, and I am thinking it's time that I change all that. I have already been hinting strongly to you that I want to take the next step in our relationship, and until I have more time to spend with you, I can't really ask you to do that. And now that the bistro is profiting, thanks mostly to Chef Bernie, I can now breathe some and take a step back in my duties here. I can hire someone to do what I'm doing because of the profits. Quinn gets quiet, which is rare for her at any time. She motions to him to continue because she doesn't really know what to say yet. I'm hoping that you will see that this could be great for both of us. You're stressed enough at Westin, and then add in the troubles that we've had here that you share with me. It hasn't really been a great time for our relationship to progress. But now we can both focus more on us while still being silent partners and continuing with our investment here. And I'm hoping that you can start to take more time away from Westin as well. Quinn states firmly, now wait just a minute. Taking a step back at the bistro is one thing. After all, I am only a silent partner, but at Westin I'm still building my career and working hard at it. Now is not the time for me to slack off there. The board would swoop in and take my position out from under me for sure if I was to do that. So if you want me to support this deal of selling part of the bistro, then fine. But if you also expect me to scale back at Westin, then you can forget it. Quinn has firmly stated her position. I thought you might say that, Joey sighs. At this point, I am willing to take what I can get from you because sooner or later, I know that you will see that we are meant to be together and that you love me as much as I love you, though you don't want to admit it. Quinn is thrown a curve once again. She expected him to fight her about not scaling back at Westin. She really didn't understand how much he loved her. She knows and has been proud of the fact that she can be a bee most of the time, and it has gotten her to where she is in life. But he has seen through it all and still loves what is under her fierce, tough exterior. Fine. My only hesitancy in this deal is that your chef will now know who your silent partner is. Is there any way in the contract that we can include a confidentiality agreement? Quinn is hopeful because she knows this is what Joey wants to do with all his heart. Joey accuses her. I think you're making too much out of this. What's the harm of anyone knowing you are an investor here? There's no shame in that, unless you are ashamed of your relationship with me, and that is really what you want to hide. Quinn counters. You've always known that I like to keep my private life private. Don't act like it comes as a surprise to you now that I don't want it to be made public. Are you afraid people won't still see you as a ruthless career woman if you have fallen for a man? Or is it you're embarrassed that you've fallen for a restaurant owner from New Jersey? Quinn evades the question. When is this deal taking place? Have you discussed this with any lawyers yet? Not yet. I've only approached Bernie to see if he would be interested, and now that I've discussed it with you, I can get them involved. I don't see why it would take very long to finalize the process. Bernie's uncle left him an inheritance, so he won't have to secure a loan or anything like that. He will probably want to retain his own attorney and have him go over the contracts, though. Joey explains further. But since I have you here, let's drop the business talk for a bit and let me try to convince you a little bit more on our relationship, our personal relationship merger. Joey smiles and takes her into his arms. Outside in the hall, Bernie is speechless. He has been standing there for a good portion of their talk, and he's found out who Joey's silent partner is now. He doesn't know what to be more shocked about, though, the fact that Quinn is the silent partner or the fact that Joey and Quinn are making out in Joey's office. He sort of knew he had a girl, but he never would have guessed it was Quinn Herald. And boy, does he want to talk to Stacy now. Jonathan and Stacy are just getting their morning started. The audit has kept them very busy, but they are happy that they are actually being trusted with real accounting work and moving forward. Jonathan heads to the break room for a coffee refill. He returns as Stacy hangs up the phone. Jonathan, Bernie called and wants to know if I can take my lunch early. He seems stressed or excited or something, but it seems urgent and important. Jonathan is curious. Sure, I don't see why not. Do you think there's anything wrong? Stacy takes a guess. I'm not sure what's going on, but he seems very excited about something. Maybe he's heard from Joey about the deal in the bistro? Let's hope so. He deserves this opportunity. Stacy smiles. I think so too. Bernie is pacing when Stacy enters the apartment. Why are we meeting here instead of Joey's or some other restaurant? Stacy asks. We need privacy for this conversation. Sit down. Bernie looks behind Stacy. John is still at work, right? Yes, he said he would see you later tonight. I wasn't expecting you to seem so preoccupied. I was expecting a big smile and some great news about the business proposal. Oh, I have big news, but it's not about the deal, or maybe it is. But no, it isn't. Sit down. I need a minute to think about how to say this. Bernie paces, sits, then stands and paces some more. Remember when I said I thought Joey had a girl? Well, he does. It's his silent partner, actually. Bernie's eyes are wide. Stacy isn't following. Okay, that's not real big news, Burns. I mean, you had already thought that and had told me as much. Stacy is very confused as to why this would be so worrisome to Bernie and why he would call her all the way over back to the apartment. Bernie paces again, not sure he really wants to tell her. It's not the fact that he has a girl and that she happens to be his silent partner. It's the fact of who the person is. Come on, just tell me. How bad can it be? And why would that matter to us anyway? If she is a silent partner and only a small part of the bistro, and you've never even seen her before today, I'm not sure I understand why her identity would be an issue for you moving forward in this deal of being half partner in the bistro. Stacy is talking out loud, really to herself, trying to see where the problem lies. Bernie pleads with her. I want to tell you and explain further, but I need you to promise me that you will not tell John anything that I'm about to tell you until I figure something else out. I need more details. Stacy reassures him. You are worrying me right now, but yes, I'll promise it will stay between us for now. Bernie pauses for a reaction. He thinks he can trust her. Okay, the girl, the silent partner, his girl, Joey's, the silent partner, Stacy says, yes, is none other than Quinn Herald. You could hear a pin drop. Stacy's mouth is wide open, her chin drops down, and she's speechless. She sits there just staring at Bernie. Minutes that seem like hours pass before she starts to question him again. Okay, I must have misheard you. You didn't just say it was my boss, Jonathan's boss, the woman that Jonathan is in love with and has been flirting with and is sort of dating off and on? Not her. Did you say that? You couldn't have said that. I did. But when I mean, and what I mean, and how? Stacy doesn't even know what to say. Bernie agrees. Exactly. That's how I felt when I found out, when I saw them together. Stacy takes a deep breath. Okay, start at the beginning, please, and tell me everything. I'm ready to listen. Bernie explains about forgetting the key and having to take it to Andrew. And I was walking by Joey's office and I heard he was talking with someone. Of course, it had to be the partner, and I shouldn't have eavesdropped, but I just wanted to know which direction their conversation was going, And so right away I recognized it was Quinn's voice, and they were discussing the deal, our deal. At first it was like, okay, no big deal, so Quinn is a silent partner, no problem. Then she mentions that she doesn't want me to know that she's the partner, and I was curious about the reason why she would want to hide all that. The next thing I know, they are making out and talking about their future together, and it was obvious that it has been going on a long time. Wow, this does raise many other questions. Why would she want a financial investment kept secret? It's not like it's an illegal company or something that would be embarrassing if found out. How could she do this to Jonathan, though? I can't believe it's true. Of course there is something she would do. Right, I can't believe I just now figured it out. She is leading him on so she can manipulate him at work. But she seems so different lately and so nice. I guess she's a great actress then. She had me believing that she was softening up a bit. And Quinn with Joey? Who would have ever thought? Stacy is rambling on, and so are her thoughts. Bernie teases. Not speechless are you anymore, I see. Stacy counters. Don't you have all of the same questions? Yeah, I do, and many more. I see Quinn in the bistro on almost a daily basis. But I have never seen Joey talk to her or even act like he notices her. Not even once that I recall. He usually is in the back office or the kitchen, and he lets the manager handle things on the floor. I know Joey has been there when John has been eating and talking with Quinn, and he was even there when we all went on our double date that first time, but he didn't act like he even knew her, even when I mentioned our double date to him. So either he is in on Quinn's sabotage of John and his job, or he is extremely clueless of what's all going on, and Quinn has duped them both. I have a really hard time thinking that he would approve of Quinn leading John on just to dump him later. Maybe he thinks she dates other people? But why would she do that right in front of him at his own restaurant? None of this makes any sense. I don't want this opportunity to pass me by, but I need to get more answers before I jump into a business with two people that I obviously do not know very well. Bernie has rationalized all of his questions out loud. Yes, and the next thing we need to do is tell Jonathan, Stacy declares. Wait, you promised we can't just do that just yet. We need to talk more about how to handle this. Part of what I overheard was Quinn requesting a confidentiality agreement that Joey wouldn't disclose her involvement in this deal. That's something I would have to sign. I obviously can't let Joey know that I know all of this. So unless we find a way to expose Quinn for dating someone else, but not her part in the deal of the business just yet, we have to keep all this quiet. I say we keep this to ourselves and see what we can find out. I'll watch Quinn closer when she comes in after work, and I'll see if there's anything I'm missing between her and Joey. It's not like John and Quinn are that serious right now anyway. They haven't had a date in weeks, and John always knew that there was a chance his heart would be broken by her. Let's just play this out a little longer, please. Bernie's made his decision. Stacy questions, why should I tell Jonathan anything about this lunch date? If I did tell him, what would I tell him? He is very curious. And I did say you made it sound urgent. So he's going to ask when I get back. Bernie instructs her, just tell him I was too excited to wait by myself and wanted you to be by my side in case Joey called over lunch. But since he hasn't, I guess he's waiting until I go into work later on. Okay, I better get back to work then. That's a good excuse. So this audit is keeping us very busy, you know, and I know Jonathan will have plenty for me to do since he's worked all the way through lunch. Stacy leans over to give Bernie a goodbye kiss. I'll let you know if I find out any more. Keep your eyes open now that we know she has this other side of her. Bernie hugs her before she leaves. This is the end of chapter 24, and we'll continue with chapter 25 of Charming After 5 in the next audio reading.